Hello, I'm Mariana Danilovich with Ultra Live TV, and we're here at Digital Hollywood Spring with Jonathan Handel, who is with Troy Gould, a great entertainment law firm and digital media law firm, as well as he writes for Huffington Post and a couple other newspapers.
Well, that's right. I write for Huffington Post and Forbes.com, and I'm also an adjunct professor at UCLA Law School. So I keep busy, I would say.
What do you do in your spare time, Jonathan?
I come to conferences like this.
So tell us about what's going on in the area of law that you practice right now with respect to digital media.
Well, as always, there's a lot of flux. It's been very difficult for people to really realize what deal structure should be like. There are no standard deal structures. Even terminology shifts. And so it's a fascinating time to be in business in this area, fascinating time to be an attorney, but not an easy one, perhaps.
What about some of the things you're writing about?
Well, I try to write about several things. One is entertainment labor. I've appeared in the press many times talking about that. I blog about that at jhandel.com, which is JHANDEL.com, and on Huffington Post and Forbes.com. And there's a lot of turmoil and turbulence when it comes to negotiating labor contracts. They're going to be starting in the fall. So I talk about that. I talk about big picture entertainment and media items as well, new media and whatever else is of interest.
And for the Huffington Post, tell us some of the stories that you've actually written recently.
Well, that's an interesting one. Several labor things, actually. It turns out that the Directors Guild is going to be negotiating at about the same time as the Screen Actors Guild, so there's going to be a bit of a mashup there when it comes to negotiations. No one knows how that's going to play out. I've got a piece coming out next week based on the cable show, which takes place next week also in Los Angeles, and you'll just have to wait and read the blog to see what that's going to say.
So these negotiations with the SAG and the DGA, how do you know that they're going to take place, and how long do you think they will last?
Well, they've announced the schedules, and SAG has and AFTRA together, which is the other actors union, have 45 days to negotiate with the Studio Alliance. There's one alliance that represents all of the studios in these talks. The DGA is going to start informal talks while those talks are going on, and then we'll jump in as soon as that deadline is reached with their own formal talks. So if, in fact, SAG and AFTRA haven't reached a deal by the middle of November, then the DGA will very quickly. It's a question of who sets the template. The Writers Guild contract is also up, and all of these unions are kind of jostling for control.
In terms of the major kernel of conflict in these negotiations, what is it?
Well, it's actually the subject of this conference here, which is new media. As many of the viewers know, we had a Writers Guild strike in 2007, 2008. We had a SAG stalemate that lasted for a year, where that union worked without a contract. Both of those things were around new media. How do actors, writers, directors get compensated in terms of residuals, rerun fees, things of that sort? Very contentious. New media continues to change, and the guilds evolve much more slowly. That puts them in tension with each other.
And you think that the guild structure will actually survive this new media pressure?
Well, that's an excellent question. In some ways, it's hard to tell. They're certainly struggling to survive, but whether compensation for their members in the form of these reuse fees that are called residuals will survive in the same way is in some ways too early to tell. You really have the collision of a much more traditional media industry, namely Hollywood entertainment, film and television, with the newest of new media industries, which of course is the internet, cell phones, and whatever comes next. These contracts that the guilds negotiate are hundreds of pages each, and I kind of compare them to roach motels. Contract clauses check in, but they don't check out, and that makes it very difficult.
And there will be a lot of time to try and check them out.
There absolutely will be. And again, check out the blog, jhandel.com, and you'll see me on HuffPost and Forbes.com as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good luck with the panel.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.